it's Gwen. I'm coming to you with my review of Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and get it out there and say it now, right here in the beginning. This is an unpopular opinion. I love Rainbow Rowell. I love her, I love her, I love her. I love all of her books, and they each have their own place, and my love of reading really started with Eleanor Park, and for that reason that will always hold a special place in my heart. But I have enjoyed Landline and Attachments and Fangirl and her story in My True Love Gave to Me. I love her, and she's such a fun and bubbly person and so laid back and humble, and she's so beautiful, and I love her so much. I rave about her all of the time, and I will never stop. She's an author for me. She is my favorite author. Sadly, I don't have really good things to say about Carry On, so I expect some hate. I'm just being honest, you guys. I feel like everybody knows about Carry On. It came out at the beginning of last month, October 6th, and this kind of was like a little bit has to do with what happened in Fangirl. In Fangirl, one of the main protagonists, Kath, and her twin sister, Ren, they're totally into Simon Snow. I think he's like a character in a book, and they spend all of their time in Simon Snow forums, and they write fan fiction, and they dress up like him for movie premieres, and they're just totally obsessed with him. Now, Ren in this book kind of, strays away from that. Like, she's more into the college life now, but Kath cannot let him go. So she continues to write fan fiction throughout Fangirl, and there are little excerpts in this book with him as the main character in her fan fiction. Now, Rainbow Rowell made it very clear that this is not Kath's story of Simon Snow. This is her story on Simon Snow. And it's very much that, but it's also very much like if she were to write the Chosen One story, this would be her version of that story. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into my thoughts on this book. I'm gonna tell you right off the bat that I was hesitant going in. When I first heard about this book, I was really hesitant because I really didn't enjoy the fan fiction bits in Fangirl, and to me it was enough to know that she was writing fan fiction. I didn't need the inclusion of the fan fiction. Some other people loved it. I was not one of those people, so I rated Fangirl 4 stars. I took off a star for the fan fiction bits that I didn't enjoy. In Carry On, there are two main characters, Simon and Baz. Well, there's really a trio. I guess it's Penelope, Simon, and Baz. There is LGBTQ elements in this, LGBTQ characters, relationship, and a romance. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and the romance in this book gets an absolute A+ for me. I mean, hands down, I really enjoyed that aspect of it, but sadly, that's probably the only part that I really enjoyed. So, knowing that Simon and Baz were the central characters in this story, I was really waiting for Baz to be in the book. I mean, for like the first 100 or so pages. When is Baz coming? Where is Baz? And just like Simon was wondering what happened to Baz, I was wondering what happened to Baz. And the entrance that he made was like perfect, and I wouldn't have expected anything less of him as a character, so I absolutely loved that he wasn't in the book right from the beginning and that he was able to make this grand entrance. And then just being able to be in each of the characters' heads, it was told in multiple points of view. I really enjoyed that, and you kind of get to see what they're thinking and feeling in different scenes, and I thought that was pretty cool. So this book does mimic Harry Potter. While it's not parallel, there are a lot of similar elements. There's the Chosen One, there's magic, there's the school for people with magical abilities, there's a bad guy, there's a trio of friends, and their trio of friends is trying to figure out, what's going on and why is this bad guy doing this and how can we defeat him. So a lot of those things parallel, but the mage is very different, the school is very different, and the trio of friends is very different, and their dynamics are very different. So it doesn't parallel that, but it does mimic it a lot, and I feel like maybe if it was in a completely different world, maybe it would have been a little bit more successful. The main problems that I had with this book is the jargon. It used UK jargon and UK spellings of words, like how colors, we don't, in America and the US, we don't use a U in colors, but like over the pond they do. And so that just didn't flow as well for me. I'm not sure why that decision was made, but it was, and it didn't make the writing as smooth as I am used to having from Rainbow Rowell. So I really didn't enjoy that the UK vernacular was there. The pop cultural references just came off as dated and lazy. There was a dining room described as looking like a Downton Abbey dining room, but I don't watch that show, so I have no idea what it looks like. I mean, I kind of have an idea, but you know. And then the dragon was described as like a T-Rex, and I'm just like, wow, that's pretty lazy. And then the spells that were in the book were just absolutely silly. I know Rainbow probably had like a really fun time with that, just being silly and but they were bolded and they just really stood out and they were just so silly. That part was just bad. It was so bad. Antagonist in this book, there are maybe a couple of layers of antagonists, but none of them are well developed and it's not really explained, and I didn't really care when people died. I just found myself shrugging my shoulders like, okay, they died, moving on. It was very fast-paced for me. I read it, rather quickly, and I didn't hate it by any means. It just had a lot of problems. So while I appreciated that everything was tied up in the end, I didn't really feel it was a proper ending, if that makes sense. And what started out as a really great idea, a really great story, kind of turned into a big mess. So sadly, I rated Carry On by Rainbow Rowell just 3 little sad stars. I hope you have enjoyed this review and it gave you a different view on an unpopular opinion, because all of the reviews that I have been watching since I finished reading this book have been positive and rave reviews. And if you take the romance out of the book, like completely, I wonder if people would have still loved it. But that's all I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Bye.